Hello, this is Ben Muldrow of Arnett Muldrow and Associates, and I'm pleased to present to you their marketing and branding recommendations for Blissfield, Michigan. Hello, this is Ben Muldrow of Arnett Muldrow and Associates, and we're pleased to present to you the branding and marketing recommendations for Blissfield, Michigan. We'd like to start off with the definition of brand elements. We always like to start here with the color palette. And what we do with the color palette is we take a series of images from all over the community. Then we run those images through a program that generates the colors that are most prevalent in that image based off personality. We knew that we wanted something that was colorful and vibrant, so we took a series of images all throughout the community, and we ended up generating a 7-color color palette. Those colors are built with 3 primary blues, a dark, medium, and light blue, golden in the center, 2 shades of green, and then a dark barn red. From there, we also wanted to define a typeface. With this typeface, we wanted to create something that could really stand out and could speak to both the traditional and casual sense of Blissfield. So with that, we selected 2 different typefaces. We began with a primary script style typeface, but this is not the ornate script that you typically would see. It feels far more custom, more hand lettered, more casual. We tied that to a very traditional serif typeface on the bottom that would allow us to create a complementary personality. Now, from there, we began to look at imagery, and we had public stakeholders who commented on so many different images that were important to them. Everything from baseball to the train to the agricultural history, just to the overall experiences, the products, services, foods, and flavors that you could get here in Blissfield. Now, obviously, these images were so diverse that they did not necessarily lend to any literal image that we could use for our overall logo. So what we did was we decided to create an icon. What we wanted to do with this icon is we wanted to pay tribute to agriculture, to the warmth of the community. We wanted to create a connection to the local school pride with the Royals, imagery that might to some reflect that of a crown. We wanted to speak to the people, the energy of the people that are here, the well-rounded nature of the community, and the fact that in Blissfield, Michigan today, there's a new day and we've got this great opportunity ahead of us. So we've looked at colors, we've looked at typeface, we've talked a little bit about this graphic icon, and then finally we always like to speak to message. And with that, we do something that we call a brand statement, and I'm going to read that for you now. We are Blissfield. Almost 200 years ago, our town was founded in the fertile land fed by the river of grapes. Named for our founder, no one could foretell how apt that name would be. Blissfield grew, bringing pioneers who developed a strong connection with this land. Soon came the rail, creating a vital link to this growing country. We are Blissfield. We are farmers and bankers. We are shopkeepers and we are neighbors. And we know the things that make this place we call home so uniquely special. It's the triple bridges over the River Raisin, and it's a long night out on the train. It's the crack of the bat round the baseball diamond and the sound of kids splashing in the pool. It's the future scientists learning in Bell Lab and the smell of dinner at Hathaway House. It's being surrounded by friends at the River Raisin Festival and the solitude of the fertile fields that roll out at the edge of town. We are all of the best of American small-town life, where we treat friends special and we've never met a stranger. We believe in the true strength of unwavering faith, the power of a strong family, and still believe that a handshake is a bond. We invite you to be our guest, dine with us, shop with us, become one of us, and you'll see what we mean when we say, Blissfield. It's America. It's bliss. So when we start to see how all of this comes together, we create this overall sense of place. We introduce this imagery, this icon. Here we have a simplified version of the icon that exists inside a self-contained logo in one of 3 background field colors. Now from that, we can see different options and variations of how this system can grow and expand, being able to feature the tagline or simply feature the Michigan modifier underneath it. Here we see the more complete version of the icon that features the fields that stretch out below, the sky forming a circle around that energy that some might interpret as a sunrise, some might interpret as a crown. That icon has the opportunity to be interpreted many different ways by whoever might see it. Now from there, we also wanted to create a version that could be used for the village itself, being able to give more of a feeling of a seal and giving this community that opportunity to really formally convey the things that the village government does. So what that would leave us with is it would leave us the destination logo and the organization logo, allowing that destination logo to truly begin to build some positive brand equity. From there, we move into what we call organizational extension. And we obviously start with the Main Street program. Here we're taking the stylized B. We're using 4 different color fields to help highlight and show off the 4 points of the Main Street model, and also highlighting the 4 different committees that Main Street Blissfield operates under. So we have the promotions committee, which could be renamed Main Street Events to really promote the events that they put on. The organization committee that we're showing is Main Street Outreach. Of course, the Main Street Design Committee, and then also the economic development efforts. Now here at the bottom, we're also showing a new tool that we think is very important, the Funded by DDA badge. This way we can begin to highlight the programs and activities that are funded by that DDA funding and revenue that comes into the community. Once we create that organizational identity, we need to make sure that it makes its way into professional collateral material, such as the business cards for the organization. Here we see front and back design for the business cards. Make its way into the stationery with a professional looking letterhead, and even note cards, being able to provide handwritten thank you notes to the folks that come out and help the organization. We also wanted to show how you could go through and do a slight modification on the website, being able to keep all the structure the same, but with a slight redesign with background and color, you're able to bring that into brand. We also thought it was important to be able to show a way that you could connect with the school pride, being able to use that stylized typeface and tie it with the crown to really make a strong connection to that school pride. Then we look at what we call event extension. This is where the brand makes its way out to the events and those positive activities and experiences that people have with the community. Everything from Blissfield Bluegrass, the car and bike show, railroad days, art at your feet, packaging together all the Christmas activities into Christmas and Bliss, farmers market, parade of lights, tractor cruise in. So now all of a sudden what you start to see is you start to see an overall system that, even though we're able to preserve individual character for each of those events, we're also be able to show through color, typeface selection, and graphic approach how they all can tie in to one singular system. We always like to show how this brand system can make its way into collateral materials, and here we wanted to start with a refresh of wayfinding signage. You've got wayfinding signage that's almost 2 decades old. It has really standed the test of time. It still looks very good and very professional, but As you go through and begin to update those signs, you could bring them more into an identity building system like this. Here we're seeing everything from pole mounted gateway signs that announce arrival into your downtown core. To the left of those, we see two different size trailblazer signs. Those trailblazer signs typically need to have at most 3 different destinations on them. Then next, we see a map sign with a street banner on a lamppost. We see parking signage, and then informational kiosks that help transition a visitor from being vehicular traffic into a pedestrian. From there, we also think it's important to use street banners and use them very strategically. Being able to use these solid color street banners help people to understand that you're in a place where both cars and pedestrians interact together. We designed these to have solid color backgrounds so that they can actually slow traffic down. The strong visual presence will create an artificial ceiling and will slow traffic down through the heart of your downtown. With a community as picturesque as Blissfield, we wanted to make sure that we showed things like postcards, being able to do farmers market aprons and reusable shopping bags, sell baseball caps, and even things like winter scarves and caps. Make its way into shopping and dining guide printed pieces that are printed on an annual basis and highlight the businesses that are there. T-shirts that businesses in the community could produce and sell. Then also being able to create volunteer T-shirts for the organization so that they can highlight the folks that are dedicating their time to Main Street, but then also be able to create a visual presence during events so people know who to talk to. Now, one of the most exciting things I heard about on my trip to Blissfield was the Agriculture Awareness and Preservation Museum. I got to review some of the plans. I know that you've got a design that was created by one of America's most prominent architects. And I also know that this museum is planned to be located in a agriculture-based community that is located in the heart of the most biodiverse state in the Union. I feel like all the things that I saw and heard were spot on except for the name. I feel like you need to think bigger and think more when it comes to positioning the role that this museum will play and the way that you will attract people to it. I would humbly submit that the board of the museum consider a name change to the Museum of the American Farmer. I feel like this creates a message that will allow you to go out and truly create a value proposition on a national stage for people to donate money and offer support to this unbelievably important museum that could exist right there in your community. And I feel like the way that you do that is through a campaign that I'm recommending you call Ode to the Farmer. Being able to take that imagery and that message out to the people and being able to really help them see the importance of being able to tell the story of agriculture and its role here in America. Finally, I want to round out with some recommendations for advertising. All these images you see were taken in one day. I think that this is a true testament to how beautiful this community is. I think the other thing that we wanted to be able to illustrate with this is how expandable the simplicity of the tagline here is. Everything from it's faith, it's bliss. It's style, it's bliss. It's historic, it's classic. It's a find, it's home. It's an escape. It's authentic. It's colorful. It's farming. It's industrious. It's safe. It's heritage. It's warmth. It's rural. It's walkable. It's preserved. It's quaint. And it's delightful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to the presentation. I hope that you'll find a baseline strategy here that will help this community to both preserve the qualities that it cherishes while also growing the economy and being able to maximize the economic impact of people who are drawn to the character that you have built. Thank you again for your time and have a fantastic day.